Hello, children. Back again with another story. Today's story is about the boons that slipped by. Long, long ago, in a small town, there lived a merchant named Tarachand. He was a very rich merchant, but a big miser. He could not spend money at all and never contributed anything in charity. His neighbor, Bhagwan Das, was a poor blacksmith, but he was a generous and kind-hearted person. One dusky evening, a weary traveler knocked at the merchant's door. He wanted something to eat and shelter for the night. But Tarachand shooed him away and said angrily, "How dare you knock at my door? Go away at once! And don't think even for a moment that you will get even a morsel of food here." "Sir, I'm very tired and hungry, and it's so cold outside. Please give me shelter for tonight. I promise you, I shall leave as soon as the dawn breaks. I beg you to take pity on me. God will reward you for your kindness," pleaded the drained traveler. Tarachand replied rudely, "Do you think I'm running an inn over here? If you don't leave right away, I shall ask my helpers to throw you out." Dejected, the poor traveler moved on and knocked at the next door. That was the blacksmith's. One look at the weary traveler, Bhagwan Das welcomed him inside his home and served him the best meal that he could put forward. He then laid a bed for him and asked him to sleep there. The fatigued traveler went off to sleep with a satisfied smile on his face. The next morning, Bhagwan Das was astonished to see a deity sitting on the bed in place of the traveler. The deity blessed him and said, "I had disguised myself as a traveler because I wanted to test you. I am pleased with your generosity, kindness, and selfless service. You may ask for a boon and it shall be granted." The blacksmith's eyes filled with tears of joy. He said, "O Lord, I don't wish for anything. You have provided me with enough. But I do wish that my faith in you never wavers, even in the most difficult circumstances." "Granted," said the deity and disappeared, but not before blessing the blacksmith with a palatial bungalow in place of his dilapidated hut. Instead of a small yard, there was now a beautiful, fragrant garden. When Tarachand woke up and went out, he was shocked to see a huge house in place of the blacksmith's hut. He just couldn't believe his eyes. He rubbed and rubbed, rubbed and rubbed. No, but the house was still there, and he quickly went to inquire about it. When he came to know about the identity of the overnight guest, he cursed himself for his rudeness and immediately set off in search of the traveler. He soon found him sitting under an old tree. He went up to him and said, "Oh, holy soul, please forgive me, I didn't recognize you. I sincerely apologize and request you to please be my honorable guest and bless my humble abode." God, of course, knew the reason behind the merchant's fervent pleas. He smiled and said, "Thank you so much for your kind invitation, but I'm so sorry I cannot accept it. However, I shall certainly bless you. I grant you 3 boons. Wish for whatever you desire and it shall be yours." The merchant could not believe his good fortune. He thought to himself, "I have got not 1, not 2, but 3 boons. and that also without having to do anything. The whole day and the whole night, he kept thinking about his desires. I want diamonds, rubies, emeralds, gold, silver, palaces, gardens, orchards. The list was endless. And no matter how hard he tried, he just could not narrow it down to 3 boons. He just couldn't sleep a wink that night. And then, cock-a-doodle-doo, cock-a-doodle-doo. Oh, it was dawn already, and the rooster was crowing to welcome it. Oof! Cribbed the merchant. Oh Lord, please get rid of this rooster. Its crowing is disturbing me and I'm not able to concentrate. No sooner had he said this, the rooster dropped down dead. Oh no! The merchant realized one of his boons had been granted. He fumed at himself for this folly and warned himself to be careful about the next 2 boons. Later in the day, he went and sat on a bench in an isolated corner of his garden so that nobody would disturb him and he could think peacefully. And he kept thinking and thinking. Seeing him sitting under the hot sun and in deep thought, his wife got worried and she requested him to sit under the shade. Tarachand was so enraged on being distracted that he shouted, "Let me be glued to this bench, but do not disturb me." Suddenly, he felt a pull from under the bench. He tried to get up. He just couldn't move. He had become glued to the bench. Oh no! I have let another boon slip by. Now only 1 boon is left. Boons, boons, what boons? What are you muttering about? Asked his puzzled wife. He told her the whole story. His wife replied angrily, "Your greed for money has brought you to a point where your wealth is of no use to you. Now, the only solution is that you use your 3rd boon to free yourself from this bench." Tarachand had no option but to do as told. He knew he could not spend the rest of his life with all his wealth but stuck to the bench. He said, "Oh Lord, you're very kind. Please release me from this bench." His boon was granted and Tarachand became a free man. He had learnt a lesson and repented his greed. From then on, he became generous and used his wealth to help the needy and the poor. So children, I hope you liked the story. Always remember to be kind, generous, caring, content, like the poor blacksmith. And don't be greedy and selfish, like the rich merchant. Thank you and keep smiling.